Hi, I'm Doreen Ellen Bill Dotan, speaking up a little bit because people have told me that the volume on my videos is very low. It's as high as the camera can go. Okay, I'll say it. Rabbinic interpretation of Torah, issues from evil. It is evil, and it creates evil in the world. The rabbis know that in order for anything to exist, it has to have some good in it. And so they use Torah as basis of twisted interpretations, injecting some of the true principles of Torah into what they're learning, and in that way what they're doing can be sustained, can have some holding in reality, because there is an element of Torah in it. But their purposes of using Torah is not to glorify Hashem so much as to put oomph into their evil. Hashem says, be in a state of repose, and I will fight for you. And Hashem says, vengeance is mine, meaning God's. We are not to take revenge. The best way to deal with the evil of the rabbis is to ignore them, and if we encounter them, to laugh at them, to show them how ridiculous they are, not to attribute any importance to what they say. Those who seek Hashem need to go directly to Hashem. There is no reason to go through any kind of intercessor whatsoever. And Hashem will believe in yourself enough to know that Hashem will reach you in the best way meant for you and according to your best levels of understanding. The rabbis want you to believe that you are essentially evil, and if you try to go to God on your own, you're going to go off half-cocked. Well, their interpretations are more than half-cocked, so even if you go off a little bit, you're still doing better than what they're doing. If your intentions are pure, Hashem will lead you in the right ways. Don't think, if you're a Christian, that you have somehow escaped rabbinic influence. Quite the opposite. Christianity is the worst of rabbinic interpretation, taken to some of its most grotesque extremes. Didn't Paul tell you that the interpretations of the Pharisees are correct, even though they don't go according to them? He told you that the interpretations of the Pharisees are correct. Having been a Pharisaic agent, he did that for two reasons. Because if you accept Pharisaic interpretation as correct, you will get hooked into the evil. And because the rich and powerful rabbis knew that they were protected from Christian rage and violence, and so it would be the ordinary Jews who would become Christians' victims. So Paul was very much an agent of the Pharisees. In fact, it's very interesting that he changed his name from Shaul to Paul. Paul means one who's been activated, an agent. But not knowing Hebrew, you didn't understand. It was just like hidden in plain sight that he was their agent. So being Christian is no refuge from Pharisaic interpretation. Neither is being a secular Jew refuge from Pharisaic interpretation. You have interpreted Pharisaic assumptions and presumptions and teachings about the nature of life, and you have internalized their teaching that a person must leave their body when they die. So even if you are secular, if you do not know how to attain immortality, which is something that you can learn only from Hashem, and sometimes Hashem calls those who have attained that to guide you, but the request has to go directly to Hashem without any intercessors. If you think that you absolutely must and there is no choice but to leave your body when you die, you are fully under the influence of Pharisaic interpretation of Torah. As to the Muslims, you too are under Pharisaic interpretation of Torah. How is that? Avraham in Hebrew is 808, which is rechem. That word exists in Arabic as well. It's womb and it's compassion. Avraham is actually Sarah's womb. And everything that Hashem says to Avraham is the holy inception. That is the true holy inception. But if you think of Avraham as being a person who is your progenitor, then you are very sadly mistaken. And you too are under Pharisaic interpretation. That and more. Hagar, who is Sarah's maidservant, and Abraham's Pelegish, how do you say that? The woman that he's not married to, but he has a child with. Forget the English word, I'm sorry. Her name is, Hagar's name is equal to 208, which is the exact value of Yitzchak. So Yitzchak and Hagar are one and the same, although it looks like these are two different figures. They are actually one, if one knows how to read the Hebrew correctly. So all of your understandings about having been descended from Abraham through Ishmael are mistaken. You haven't understood them correctly. Most of the world is under Pharisaic witchcraft, which is what it is. And again, the way to get out of it is not to confront them directly. I confront them with the truth because I can prove to them how they're wrong. I know the Hebrew well enough to be able to show them how they're wrong. I know that they won't accept it, but I give them a chance. Maybe. The vast majority will reject what I'm saying out of hand. Yet and still, everyone deserves a chance. So I give them a chance, knowing that the vast majority are going to dismiss me, but who knows? Until we have learned Torah on a level that is far higher than what the rabbis do, it's better not to interact with them directly. Stay away from them, ignore them. If they approach you on the street and, have you put on tefillin today? Are you Jewish? Make a joke of it. That is not the correct interpretation of Torah, and you will damage your body by doing a strange ceremony instead of learning how to really have a vision between your eyes of godliness in the world. It's very important not to do these ceremonies, because by simulating ceremonies, you create a world which is a simulation. That is how the simulation is created. Instead of the rabbis doing the mitzvot, actually, they do ceremonial representations of the mitzvot, and the world that they generate in so doing is a simulation. That's why it's not real. So it becomes very, very important for us to turn to Hashem directly and ask to be shown the Torah truth. If you're not Jewish, just ask to be shown the truth. And the truth as it is conceived best in your consciousness will be given to you directly from God. That is the Immaculate Conception. When God inspires the mind to be able to form things in holiness and in purity, not impurity, chas v'chalila, in purity, to be able to do so in a pure way. And all sentient creatures, most especially human beings, are able to do that. Thank you for listening. Take them with a grain of salt and take them with a sense of humor, but keep them at bay. They are really and sincerely dangerous and pernicious. Thank you for listening.